Russia. He has 22 years of academic, research and teaching experience at institutions namely University of Roorkee, HPTI Kanpur and VTU Engineering Colleges, Science, Polymers, Nanocomposites, Dielectric Materials.
He holds research degrees in both chemistry and biotechnology. Under his able guidance,
Professor Sanjay Mathur is the Director of Institute of Inorganic Chemistry at the University of Cologne in Germany. He is the Co-Director of the Institute of Renewable Energy Sources.
आप फोटो लीजिएगा हम तो
the Dean, Professor Krishna, for the felicitation. I also would like to thank Professor Sri Lakshmi and Professor Atul Kumar for their, and also Dr. Naidu for inviting me. Ultimately, you have to look back, and also I think that Professor Acharya has also mentioned, the Vice Chancellor, that one has to look back to chemistry, not only for creating, but when you want to recreate something, again chemistry is the solution. So from that viewpoint, I will be briefly talking. Now, it's very difficult to go into the entire city, now also very cosmopolitan university. It was mentioned, I was happy to see the partnership of the society, the Karnataka chapter of the Society of Catalysis here. And I think I also would like to one organization and what can be done in collaboration. Before I move into science, I would like to briefly thank my group members for doing most of this work and also the funding agencies. And now I would like to come to the topic that is chemistry. I think it was mentioned our planet is having 8 billion people. It was just 15th of November last year when we touched or crossed the mark of 8 billion people. That means the resources are limited and we are really having a struggle how to distribute them evenly. The second thing is that we are living in an exponential age. Everything, and chemistry is playing a big part in accelerating the change, because we can see that every second year we have a new iPhone, and who is not going after that? I'm not going now at this point in detail. I was just recently invited by the Prime Minister Office through the Weber Summit that how can we look at the electromobility sector in India, and again the same problem there. It's not only about not having the infrastructure of rechargeable or recharging stations, but important that how do we meet the requirement of the Indian market. It's coming with new challenges, but it's also coming with new opportunities. And this is where I think we need to work together, and I'm sure that there will be a solution which is sustainable and green, but it will, or you will find a new equilibrium so that everything comes down and you have a new equilibrium coming somewhere. And I think these green dots are probably the hope that we all have, that we will come up with green solutions, green chemistry, sustainable use of resources, and so on. So I think this is where I like the topic of the conference, sustainable chemistry. And I will be talking about two things which are related to, I will be giving examples of nanoparticles and drug delivery. I think this was mentioned by our ceramic yield is not every molecular compound is leading to a material in high yield. So there we have to really see how do we analyze that, what is the figure of merit, and how do we find the right advanced ceramics from chemical understanding and using power of chemistry, power of synthesis as the driving force to innovate materials. And we do a lot of work on pigments using plasma. We have activities, and I will be talking about that, on hydrogen production using both electrochemistry and photoelectrochemistry, and we work on functional surfaces for bipolar plates and also for superhydrophilic coatings. Material, then you really see what all challenges are. Doing science in lab is obviously fascinating, but one then they can be used for harvesting energy. And for this we need piezoelectric material that can be embedded into a polymer, and then we work a lot on those. This is a European project. How can we make flexible materials that can be implemented within the different parts of the automobile, for example, for harvesting minimum amount of energy, nano energy. We wanted to have high temperature hydrophobicity. So one of my students, she worked now, she's with the Evonik industry, and the project was funded by Short Industry. And here you see you are using it in an atmosphere of water vapors. There is a condensation, you have formation of water droplets. But with this hydrophobic coating, which is at high temperature super hydrophobic, you have to look on these kind of applications where you have super hydrophobicity. And here we are working on lanthanum oxide because they are intrinsically hydrophobic. Because they are pure oxide, there is no fluorine, there is no carbon backbone. It is just, and this is again the electronic structure. The f orbitals are so low lying that they don't have 2014, so if somebody is interested. Now, I would like to use rest of the work time for showing two examples, which is important. I'm seeing at the running or ticking clock. So, two examples that I would like to show. One is related to health, and the health it's the nanomedicine area where you can reduce the impact of the drug by nanoformulation. So when we take a pill, and we all know that it takes some time, whether it's an aspirin, and once it is dissolving in the body, it's all through concentration gradient that the drug is going through the body. Now, it is an overflooding of the body. There is a high systemic toxicity because we don't know the metabolization pathway for all molecules. And you also don't know how the excipient is going to release the drug in the body. So the dissolution and all this is uncontrolled. So you play with, maybe you need only few molecules, but more than 100,000 times excess is given. And we all know that every drug molecule is toxic. So it is affecting also healthy cells. So from that viewpoint, there is a huge interest, at least in the University of Cologne, we have one of the largest center worldwide on aging diseases. And they want to go away from this systemic therapy to a targeted therapy. And this is not know that most drugs are toxic, effective but toxic. And how can we reduce them? And I think this is one of the area of nanomedicine, because a lot of people are asking 30 years of nanotechnology. I just came from Bombay where somebody was saying in paint industry, the total turnover of paint industry with nanopigments is not even 10 crores, which is nothing compared to what people have invested here, the DST nano initiative and all. So, but I think one of the winners of this area will be the nano drug formulation. But it will take some time. Like just imagine a drug carrier, a small particle filled with the drug and having the right, and thankfully this is over, but we all know that the microRNA technology was always there. It was the problem of encapsulation. And the person, BioNTech CEO, he did his PhD in Cologne, University of Cologne. So I know this story that they had been working for 15 years. It was all about encapsulation, in which they did. And if you look at, I mean, you don't see it here actually in my drug, and also stop the major accumulation of drug in the liver. So I give you one example that is on well-known anti-cancer agent, doxorubicin. So if it is given as a molecular drug, just put in some kind of a matrix, then you have, it will be cellulose, some sulfate, silicate, whatever. But this is giving a lot of side effects of congestive heart failure and other problems. So it was shown, and this is published work, liposomal, if you coat this drug into a liposomal vehicle, then you can reduce the cardiotoxicity, and this whole can be even improved if you put a targeting ligand on that. So the drug retention is not there. The drug is not going to stop there. The molecular drug is just in flow. So you need something that can stick on the tumor and then release the drug locally and in a sustained manner. So the challenges of an active drug delivery are that you need to know what ligands are there, what are the target ligands that you need, and what are the receptors. So that's why it's an interdisciplinary work where you work with cell biologists and medical practitioner who can do that. And we are actually part of this huge cluster act for drugs. And this is on looking at societal diseases which are not covered or not prioritized by big companies because of several reasons. Economic reasons, because because of competitive reasons and so on. If you see the innovation at the medchem side, there are so many molecules known, but only few will enter the market, which is in 20% of the women. It's coming, so the probability is 20% of any women getting that. And this is called TNBC, triple negative breast cancer, because the cancer cells, they do not have receptors. That's why triple negative. They have very few receptors, so you need something which can really deliver drug specifically. So we should, like in this case, it was a receptor, a target ligand folic acid, because we were working with some foliate. And then we had this DOTA, which is a chelating complex that can take 68 gallium or some other radioactive nuclide to have imaging and chemotherapy. We all know that chemotherapy has a lot of nasty side effects, fast aging of skin, hair falling, and so on. So I think to reduce the dose, and the doctors only can tell you, they were saying even if the dose is reduced by 50%, this will be a miracle, because we are giving 10,000 higher dose, because that's the only resort. When the tumor has advanced so much, the anti-cancer treatment is only, it's just given to extend the life by a few months, so they don't look at the radiation damage. And if this can be checked somehow, this will be very, and we had almost twofold enhanced therapeutic effect. So I think that there is a lot, and I just want to say that these nanocarriers can be made. That means taking nanocarriers, functionalizing the surface, attaching a target ligand, and then working with it. Now, I have only now 9 minutes left, so I have to switch the gears. The second is, and that area is also very close to my heart. It was mentioned electrocatalysis a few times. In Germany is working with the Indian government to finalize the hydrogen implementation plan. And I want to talk about one project that we worked with Siemens, and that was using seawater as a resource for hydrogen. And this is something which we have to see, that this is a dream reaction. It's a very old reaction. We all know, when we show practicals in first year chemistry, you can take any commercial battery, take a saline solution, one molar sodium chloride, put 2 electrical leads into it, and then you can see hydrogen and oxygen evolution. Now, that hydrogen can also be generated directly by harvesting photoenergy. And photosynthesis is being done all the time. But can we do it in a way that it is giving you enough hydrogen? And once again, we are going to use seawater, because we have very limited amount of, less than 4% is drinkable water, potable water. 96%, 97% is saline water. Desalination was also mentioned. But today, if you see, only 4% of hydrogen is called as green hydrogen, which is also not true, because if you look carefully, green hydrogen is termed as hydrogen which is coming out of electrolysis, but that electricity is coming through fossil fuels. So I think we have to be very careful in also looking at the colors of. So when I studied chemistry, I was told that hydrogen is a colorless gas. Today things have changed, right? So first of all, let me see. There are different shades of hydrogen today, depending on where this is coming from. So whether it's coming from sea, it's coming from nuclear fuel, whether it's coming from renewable energy, and so on. But there is a value chain, and this is where the hydrogen economy is coming into picture. We need an energy loop. So if you can take seawater, create hydrogen. The biggest challenge of hydrogen is not its production, it's its storage. And BASF, a German company, has invested millions and millions in producing metal organic framework, but it didn't fly, that project. Metal organic frameworks, the so-called coordination polymers, they have a design porosity. You can store hydrogen into it, but it's not efficient enough, because hydrogen being such a small and reactive molecule, it goes through everywhere. So you need new materials for barrier, or acting as barrier coatings. This is the biggest challenge that automobile industry is facing. They have worked all through their life with different kind of steel for making engines or aluminium alloys and other things. But now, if hydrogen is being used as a fuel, it will definitely lead to a lot of problems. It will make the material porous, because it will go through the metals. So I think here, Germany is in 2019, they started seawater electrolysis, and the Bosch company, which is also a German company, they started solid oxide fuel cell. So if you take hydrogen and you feed it into a solid oxide fuel cell, you can convert hydrogen into electricity, and the byproduct is water. you can take this water, electrolyze it and create hydrogen. So this complementarity is the loop that is needed for a sustainable energy solution. And I think that yesterday, I think this was mentioned, our Prime Minister has been telling for a long time on zero effect and zero defect. And I think if you want to reduce the impact, you want to look at the decarbonization of energy, of economy, you need to think of changing the manufacturing processes. So in Germany, there is a lot of idea on how can we change the manufacturing processes shown here into some kind of greener processes, reducing the temperature at which you are producing metal, for example, iron. And hydrogen is a good fuel. So if you put hydrogen together with other fuels conventionally, you can reduce the temperature or you can increase the calorific efficiency. So the dream of this green hydrogen is actually, I will say, it's accelerating the challenge of transition, that you say energy transition, which is a, I think it's not working. It's not working, but anyway. So I think this is where we see on the left side, this is semiconductor material, so an electrolyzer that you can buy commercially. This comes with a 10 years guarantee, and then it gives you, this is but pure electrolysis. Now solar assisted water splitting, you need a semiconductor material which can harvest enough photon energy to split water, and that thermodynamic potential of water oxidation is 1.23 volt. That means with overpotential and all, you need a material which is giving you 1.5 volt. There are a lot of photovoltaic materials which are giving you 1.5 volt, lot of batteries. So that combination of an energy system can also work. But one has to come up with this. It has several challenges. Of hydrogen production is a 2-electron process. You need 2 protons and 2 electrons to create 1 hydrogen molecule. If you want to create oxygen, it's a 4-electron process. So you have to balance the kinetics. And that's why there are a lot of requirements. How do you optimize this material? A lot of, and titanium oxide has a large band gap, iron oxide has a low band gap. So it has, you can see this rust color. This is the aggregate. So once again, think when you are doing, so for younger people, about the scale and efficiency. That's the key. The dollar per kilogram hydrogen that includes production, which they have good efficiency, so minimum 10%. But look at this. This energy, if you have a 10,000 square kilometer panel, it can provide energy to 1 billion people. But the cost today is $220 billion only for the device. So you need materials which are more efficient. Until now, there is no single material which can directly split water, spontaneous splitting of water without any electrical bias. You are taking this hydrogen that we are producing by solar photoelectrochemical, feeding it into activation of nitrogen, which is a very strong molecule and not easy to activate by mechanical vibration. And these dipoles, these transient dipoles are enough to activate dinitrogen. And then once there is a dipole in this bipolar molecule, inert molecule, you can have the first hydrogen addition here. The first reaction can be this. So try to cover up a lot, because the chair was telling me that when will you have the next chance to talk to all these people. So and my major intention is always to work with younger people and to let them know what all can be done. So both the areas on precision therapeutics, where you directly see the importance of chemistry, organic chemistry coming close to inorganic chemistry. And second thing is energy challenges. We have a lot of interest in small molecule activation, and this is something where we have to really work together. Yeah, with this I would like to thank once again Dr. Sri Lakshmi for this opportunity to be here, and to the chair for the patience. I took 2 minutes more, but I would be happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Sanjay Mathur, sir. Wonderful talk. Now I will open the session for brief question and answers.
I'm a materials chemist. I'm doing the encapsulation part. So when we get microRNA from our colleagues because we have people from organic chemistry working both on synthetic DNAs, and this is a real challenge. And I've been coming for several years with the German economic delegation and industrial delegation to collaborate, and we see a bottleneck in India between TRL 3 and TRL 8. There is nothing. So normally the CSIR lab which have the mandate to bring it close to the technology should do this work. And I think this is where I compare with the German system. You have, so what we are showing is a single object. I can make one device, that's fine, but it goes on. Fraunhofer institutes, they don't do any fundamental science. Nobody's asking them to publish paper. Their only job is to work. Their excellence is counted with how many industries they are working. So I think if the CSIR labs are also, and I guess they are functioning in the same way, but if you only look at, and you don't go to the national funding agency and don't compete with universities and research institutions, then you are able to close that gap. And this is a real challenge, that how do we progress on that? There is a lot of innovation in India which is stagnating at this level. And I think either there is a hand holding, and we are having a very unique ecosystem. We have micro industries also. But there is no pipeline to transfer this innovation. So I fully agree with you. This is an area, and I think I was invited to comment on the science and technology, and I said there are two things. Institutionalization of the partnership, because Indian academia is very well connected. Every single professor has a lot of context. But institutional partnership is the way. And the second thing is the technology transfer initiative has to be more precise and more directed, right? So there should be support measures for that. You can talk more on that.
Almost 360 degree you have taken, starting from the hollow silica nanoparticles and their applications, starting from.
We were monitoring CO2. But a lot of people, and they have biotechnological approaches where you can create enough amount of hydrogen, but it is very low in efficiency. It is even lower than the photoelectrochemical.
Yes.
So I think there the only way is to make the biotechnological reactor big enough and use this hydrogen in situ for a further chemical reaction. Not to use it as a fuel.
Okay.
So it has to be used as a chemical ingredient.
Understood.
Yeah. So the pipeline there is a different one.
Right.
Yeah. I fully agree with you that the enzymatic processes are low in efficiency, but the other thing is they work at very low energy, and the cutinase and lipase that we are used, they were industrial byproducts, so they are not expensive enzymes. And you can have enzymes, metal nanoparticle or oxide nanoparticle doing the same electron transfer reaction.
Yeah.
So at some point you can replace them.